Hello, Jill, and welcome to the Quantum Health Connection podcast. We're so delighted that you're here. And let's just start off with you sharing with us your homeopathic practitioner origin story.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Um, I kind of laugh every time I get started because I feel like whenever I listen to other people's stories, there's always like a big homeopathy healing moment, which I didn't have before I got into homeopathy. Um, and even when I jumped into my college, a lot of people were like, "What? Like you've never really had a big experience and you're here? Like you're crazy." But it just was something that felt right. So I'll go back to the beginning. When I was 17, I was in a bad car accident. I was hit by a car as a pedestrian. And then I had years after that just of a lot of pain and like meeting with a lot of practitioners, just like structural things. I was really lucky in that way. But anyways, I had this amazing massage therapist who just introduced me completely into like the world of natural medicine. He did like massaging, cranial sacral therapy, and introduced a lot of like just like healthier eating habits and things like that things that I didn't really grow up knowing about. So I'm so thankful for him. But he introduced me to like naturopathic medicine, and then eventually he kind of dropped homeopathy in there and was like, "Have you ever tried? Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever heard about this?" And it just immediately just like clicked with me. Like it just immediately just made sense when I just started diving in more online. And at that time, I was young, I was 20, and I was in post-secondary. I had started with pre-med. I knew I wanted to work with people. I wanted to help people heal. But that pre-med scene didn't really jive with me. So then I transferred into psychology. I was like, maybe I'll do this and then I'll go into naturopathic medicine. I didn't know, as a young person, but then he dropped this homeopathy ball on me. And I was like, wow, like that sounds so great. And then I just like it moved so fast. Like, and I just like felt like just what I was meant to do. Like I found out about it and just like 5 months later, I was moving 8 hours away enrolled in this homeopathy school, and just really kind of like shocked everyone in my life. I think it was so sudden, but it just felt like it was just so right. But I also loved, honestly, that I didn't have to finish my degree first and I could just move into studying what I wanted to study. I didn't want to waste time doing what I didn't want to do. Like I didn't want to get this pre-med degree or psychology degree. I just wanted to get to the good stuff. And I also liked that I've always wanted to have a family. So I knew that I could get my studying done and then get into being the mom too that I wanted to be. And it seemed like homeopathy could work with my life that way. And I could still be the mom that I wanted to be and have this in my back pocket if I used it or not. And so that was my
Mm.
beginning.
That is so
Mm.
cool. Even though you say you didn't have this big experience with homeopathy as far as taking it for whatever health issues, you had a
Yeah.
big epiphany and a
Yeah.
resonance with homeopathy. That I would consider, that's the thing right there. That's so cool.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was just like people were like, you really haven't used many remedies and like you're here. Like you've never had a homeopath of your own and you're here. Like
Oh
It's
wow.
not
who
the
does
typical
that?
way. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is kind of a different way to get to it. But something about your intuition was like, yeah, I need to do this, right? And I
yeah,
need this
yeah.
is like my path, and I need to follow this. And I think following that gut instinct and our own intuition, like
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? And I'm
yeah.
sure as a mom, you're very grateful to have homeopathy now because you probably use it so much. Like we don't know that when we first begin, but you're like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, homeopathy is like the lifesaver as a mom. And it's like,
Oh,
yeah, right? I'm sure.
yeah, I know. And I was so like I feel blessed that I had it from the beginning. Like I had it from
Mhm.
all through my first pregnancy. I had all this knowledge right from prior to conception, and all of the ladies that I studied with, like they were so instrumental in like my crunchy journey. Like they opened my eyes. I don't know if you can say like the V word, like to shots. To I had never thought about that before, and so they taught me about like you can say no, you can like have a birth at home. Like they opened up this whole world to me that so there's so much more than homeopathy that I got out of that training. Just like
Yeah.
Wow. What a
that
It's a
blessing
changed.
whole
that
different.
was. That was a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
blessing that they gave you there. And so you've probably noticed a difference between how your kids have been benefited from that versus like other poor kids who haven't,
Oh, I know.
sadly haven't been able to be, not subjected to that. So have you noticed that about your
Absolutely.
children?
Like
Yeah.
even just like with like friends, or
Yeah.
like people that we just that are in your life, not even just clients, children that you see. It's amazing. Like I'm so thankful that we don't have to deal with the health struggles and not that they won't come because those aren't the only reasons for health struggles, but it just feels so I'm thankful that I can set them on this good foot to begin with. They just have a leg up, just with all that we find to be working against people in this day and age.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing the difference that you see in people.
Yeah, that's a huge, huge blessing to have that from the beginning. I always say, where
Yeah.
would my kids be? Like, because I didn't get into homeopathy till they were older. I mean, they were older,
Yeah.
some in
Yeah.
their teenage years. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, what would have been like if they would have had homeopathy? They never would have suppressed the eczema. They never would have suppressed the ear infections and all these things that we
Right.
did because we didn't know. And I was just like, oh yeah, give them the
Exactly.
Tylenol and the Advil and like,
Right.
and the steroid
Yeah.
cream. Like I was like, no, totally conventional. So I
Yeah.
honestly think that like if I do think like I know you said, of course, there are other reasons why people get ill. It's not just suppression of,
Mhm.
using pharmaceuticals, but I do think the more that we use homeopathy over allopathy for our acute situations, the less
Yeah.
likely chance that they are going to develop chronic disease later on in life. And that's the truth of it. And I'm
Absolutely.
always trying to express that to parents. I'm like,
Yeah.
even if you don't use it for like homeopathy, like for your chronic condition, like you're not ready for
Yeah.
that. Even if you just use it acutely, it's going to have a
Yeah.
major impact on your life, right? Because you're
Yeah.
avoiding the suppressive medications and you're not suppressing the symptoms. You're just helping them move through you, which is like, oh, yes,
Yeah.
that's what we need to be doing.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And even parents so that come to me like you who they like their kids have this history before they knew differently. They come and they feel like kind of like ashamed and guilty about that. And it's like, no, like you do what you know, right? Like you did the
Yeah.
best that you could at that time. And so like again, lucky to have homeopathy where we can help them move forward from that. We can help them detox those things. We can help them completely shift in their well-being. So it's great. Like, of course, if everyone could have it from the beginning, that would be wonderful. But just hopefully everyone can experience it at some point in their life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think homeopathy is going to have a huge renaissance. I mean,
Yeah.
big time with
Yeah.
Remedy Academy and just all the homeopaths who are coming online, and that
Yeah.
people are just like starting to really see the impact of these pokes, especially last, 4 years ago. It's like, oh, wow, maybe this isn't a good idea. So, well,
Yeah.
how long have you been doing homeopathy again?
Yeah. So I graduated 12 years ago
Uh,
now. And then I went right into having kids. So I have four kids now. Um, and so yeah, my youngest was, or no, sorry, my oldest was born like 3 months after I graduated or something like that.
Perfect timing.
So my first three kids, I really was just seeing friends and family and just I did not open up my world to like
Mm.
sure sometimes friends would be like, hey, you should go chat with Jill. But not on a big level at all. And so it was just about 3 or 4 years ago when I like officially
Okay.
opened up my doors to welcome clients like near and far. Well, not my doors, actually, my online doors.
Yeah.
Because I see all my it's
Open
online.
up your computer screen.
Open up my
Yeah.
computer screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it is such a nice thing to be able to do from home with kids
Oh,
also as a
yeah.
career. Like I
Oh, it's
find too.
perfect.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I pick my hours and my hours are done once they get home from school or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I can do that. It's so great. I have my morning time to myself. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's
Yeah. And
great.
I'm thankful for the years when I wasn't like quite seeing clients to the capacity that I am now, just because it left so much time for like continuing education and figuring out like what type of
Mhm.
homeopath do I want to be? Like, is this the type of homeopathy that I want to practice? And is this applicable? And is this working like on this smaller scale? So it really kind of just helped fit that in for
Mhm.
me and just give the time and attention to my kids that I really wanted to. Like it was just a blessing that I could do that and just spend that time with them and know like even if it was just helping a client like a friend here and there with their issue, but then I just had the homeopathy knowledge for acutes, all the things that you go through with kids throughout pregnancy, throughout labor. And so it was nice to have that for at that
Yeah.
time.
Wow.
Like good
Yeah.
old Camellia is probably
Oh,
really useful, right?
I
And
know.
pulsatilla, I was like, I'm probably giving that away like candy, right? Okay,
Yeah.
what are
Oh
your
yeah.
kids' ages? I'm curious now that we've been,
Yeah, they're 5, 7, 9, and 11.
wow, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Beautiful.
the 5-year-old is in the background here. So
Yeah,
he
it's
might stick
okay.
his head up here eventually, but
It's okay. It's
I
all
love that.
good. It's
It's
all
like part of
good.
the part of the podcast process. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you had lots of time to really sort of just like linger in it and experience all
yeah.
different assets and facets of homeopathy. And now
Yeah.
you specialize in women's issues like fertility and hormonal stuff. And so I'm
Mhm.
very anxious to hear about a class that you're going to be teaching, your course rather.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
tell us how you decided to niche down to that.
Yeah, so I think it went back. We were chatting before that the where I studied had such a great student clinic. It was 4 years immersed in this
Wow.
clinic. So we got to see
Cool.
so many clients, and it was an amazing learning opportunity, especially as a student, like just from the beginning, someone really not knowing homeopathy, right? So that was wonderful. But what I noticed is just there was a lot of kids. There was a lot of kids being brought in for their struggles. And I'm looking at the mom, like, you look at how much you're struggling. And like this mom never became a client because the focus is on this kid and this kid and this kid, you know? And then throughout my own journey as a mom, like just going through, like just the focus, of course, our focus is on our kids. But then we start drowning too, right? And I'm glad that it's becoming more common now for the mom to realize I need to get myself some help too. Like I need a lifeboat here. But that really wasn't the case when I was learning. And so I just thought like this is my passion. This is what I want to focus on. I want to help mums who are struggling. But then of course that I want that gravitates to all women. Like I just want to help all women who are struggling, whether that is they're trying to become a mom for the first time, or they're struggling through their pregnancy, or in this postpartum time, or when they hit perimenopause, menopause, any age. Like I love working with women any age, and it just brings me so much joy. So then that's what I decided that that is my focus because that is what fills me up.
Oh, I love that. And it's like if we didn't could realize that if we work on the parents, especially the mom, they're
Yeah.
like the hub
Yeah.
of the entire family,
Oh,
right? Like
yeah,
everything shifts. Like so actually if your kid is struggling, it's probably more important to work on the mom than the kid.
absolutely. Yeah.
Actually. And
Yeah.
because it's
It's
gonna because
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
because our fields are all entangled and especially to our children, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like we are like our biofields are literally one with them. And like and it's like the rising tide lifts all boats. We lift the mom and then they
Yeah.
will lift too. Like it's just so
Absolutely.
true. And
Yeah.
I say that with my own kids as well. And it's just, the more dysregulated or the more challenging or stressed or self-care is not there for me or for my husband, then
Yeah.
they're struggling, right? So it's
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, right? That's the simple
Yeah.
thing. And I'm really
Absolutely.
glad that you're supporting moms that way. And sometimes we do need to bring in the whole family for the kid to heal. That is
Absolutely.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. And like in my clinic, in my practice, I'll tell the woman that like I absolutely like I will work with your family, but you have to be a client first. And let's see what happens. Like, right, let's see how your changes help them. And like maybe you won't even need to book an appointment. But maybe you will, but let's see how they can change just based on how you are going to heal first. And even
Mhm.
like it's amazing how it even like the husband all also like not even just the kids in that energetic entwinement, but like the husband all of a sudden too, like things are changing, in their world just based on this one critical person in the home, starting to heal. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, the ripple
Yeah.
effect, right? The energy is
Yeah.
going to shift and it's going to affect everyone, like Vanessa said. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
important. How, Jill, in particular, do you help support women, like, for example, prepare for pregnancy and then childbirth and all that whole, all those things?
Yeah. So in my practice with my fertility clients, I started out really focused on the Liz Lalore fertility protocol. I don't know if you guys have had anyone chat
What's it
about
called again?
before. Liz Lalore, it's a woman out of Australia. It's her fertility protocol. And so that is kind of like was the basis, and still is of what I help my fertility clients and what I like focus on for remedies. But I've just kind of morphed from that as well, just as you change at working with clients, seeing what works and what doesn't. And sometimes I strictly use that protocol. But then as I've learned from like Melissa Coops, like I've brought in the Fibonacci homochords, and that has been beautiful, like with the fertility clients. But I also use a lot of sarcodes I'll use like if it's the best match, like a constitutional remedy. I don't love that term. I haven't found a good one that I prefer, but sometimes I'll go that route. Or just like just no sods or one and the mix. But just really whatever. Like of course, every client, whoever is in front of you, you choose what is best fitting to the picture. So not always a protocol. Sometimes like always individualized, but sometimes just a single remedy, sometimes a couple, sometimes the full one.
Mhm.
But then throughout pregnancy, once they've conceived, we use a lot of cell salts. Like I love the pregnancy cell salt protocol.
Right.
But then also just supporting just like what's present, what like just always working with shifting symptoms and supporting them the best way that I can, often still using sarcodes. Like I've just like something was opened up in the last few years that just showed me that just the power that they have to help like not only create life but then sustain it, because a lot of my mamas have a huge history of miscarriages, and it's like okay, what are we going to include that is going to help the body sustain this pregnancy if it's viable, of course. And they've just been instrumental, the use of sarcodes, in doing that.
That's so nice to hear because I just bought a ton of sarcodes and I'm like
Okay.
making like custom sarcodes for people and I'm like because
Yeah,
I just felt like it. Like I was
yeah.
like, this feels right. I
Oh
started
yeah.
playing with the remedy polyorgan plus for myself and I was like, oh, I really
Okay.
like this because I took a course with Anka Zimmerman,
Hmm.
healing complex the next generation. Great. And she had given this one boy with autism, she gave him polyorgan plus and Hasiamos and the kid's like life like changed and I'm like, but the polyorgan plus like getting everything open first made such a huge impact and I was like,
Well,
these are just sarcodes and a couple of like liver support remedies and kidney support remedies and it made this huge difference and I was like blown
huge.
away. So then I started playing it with myself and then I started getting more
Yeah.
into it because of course I know we are all trained classically but then we're like growing and expanding, right, so much
Yeah.
more
As
and
we should. As we
right,
should.
as we
Yeah.
should. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
And I haven't learned that fertility protocol, but I've been meaning to. And I
Hmm.
heard Melissa say on a podcast that it used to be like 80 to 90% effective, but then after C19, it was like more like 60 to 70% effective. It went
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
like due to that like real assault to the systems that we had, which was
Yeah.
such a thing, but I'm still a very good protocol and effective from what I hear. And
Hmm.
yeah, of course, we do need to always still keep it individualized because there's going to be other blocks and clearing things like that
Absolutely.
they've had, whether it's
Yeah.
C19 or things like that need to be cleared, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, really cool. But
Have
yeah.
you seen like a difference in women's fertility and hormonal status since C19, and then how do you also
Oh,
support
yeah.
women with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I have. And I feel like across the board, everyone is changed since that time, and like especially like often lots of more like sorry, I'm kind of stumbling here. Lots of miscarriages too. Like maybe it
Yeah.
was somebody who could easily get pregnant before and then lots of miscarriages since then. But then like Melissa said, like the Liz Lalure fertility protocol, like something shifted and so it is not as effective as it was prior to that, from what I've heard, because I wasn't using it before COVID, or sorry, CV.
Yeah.
It's
Say the word. Um, just afterwards, that's when I found out about it, and that's why when I trained on it. But based on like what Liz has said and her success with it before, amazing. But then something shifted, and so then we just shift and see. Okay, well, what's presenting now? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Do we need to do a clearing first? I do that with a lot of my clients, because like and not just CV. Like sometimes that's the case. Sometimes the CV shot like that was it. But a lot of my clients they come and they live like a really kind of pure lifestyle and they don't do those things. And so then it's looking at well, is it the influence of other people or is this now just
Mhm.
a miasmatic block? I feel like that is what is a big part of it with a lot of people, that the CV19 just made that a lot more
It's a new
notable.
miasm, and I think people will
Yeah.
need to have that as a miasm remedy for
Yeah,
like years to come
absolutely.
now. Like it's just it
Yeah.
can't not be,
No.
so
Yeah.
like it was just such a huge impact. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a client who never well since Gardasil, and that was
Yeah.
clearing that helped her get pregnant, and that was it. That was
Yeah.
the ticket. So it depends on knowing, well, what was the thing that you've never felt that never well since, as we say,
Exactly.
and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, let's
I
go with
do.
that and see what it does."
Yeah, I do that a lot with my fertility clients. Like if it seems like if like Gardasil is in their past, or like I actually do a lot of the
Mhm.
polybirth control detox too, just
Oh
because
yeah.
that being such a big block. I do that with a lot of my fertility clients too. And it's just crazy how that just positively impacts like so many women's cycles. Like it's just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you include
So tell
folliculinum and sepia in that, or do you kind of not do that? Or maybe,
Oh,
depending.
sorry, can you say that again? I missed
Do you
that.
include folliculinum and sepia, or do you not always do it?
I do sometimes. Like sometimes I do like the daily sepia.
Yeah.
And if we're doing a fertility protocol, like folliculinum is in the protocol, and so I will
Yeah.
often include that as well. Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what will you be teaching in your course?
yeah. So my course, I'm so excited about it, honestly. And so there's no fertility included in the course. It's just from conception into postpartum. And so
Mhm.
just I my goal, like, because I know a lot of homeopaths have pregnancy and birth courses, but I really wanted to make it just applicable and easy to understand for moms, but also for health professionals like doulas and midwives, because a lot that was kind of my inspiration because a lot were coming to me like, please, like, teach us about homeopathy. And so it was going to be a live course until I was like, there was too many people asking and life didn't align that I was like, I'm just going to record this and then you guys can just watch it as you can, which is nice, but then you kind of they gotta hold themselves accountable to finish it, of course. So yeah, just focusing on pregnancy, all like anything that could arise in pregnancy. There's a section for in there. And then really owning in on birth and anything that could arise in birth, like like the typical like back labor, or slow labor, and then all the way to like hemorrhaging, and gestational diabetes. Like those are in there as well. And really, just for those things, I really focus on like protocols. That's something that I did in my studies before I really came back into practice was I studied the Banerjee protocols.
Oh,
And I don't use those with my one-to-one clients really ever, more just acutely. But in situations like this, where I want to teach people how to use homeopathy at home, it is
Yeah.
so helpful for so many people to just be like, okay, I have this issue. This is the remedy, or these are the two remedies I'm going to start with. And that's simple, right? I can do that and I know how often I'm supposed to take it. And just really by the book, easy for people to follow and implement in their life. And that's really my goal, is to just make homeopathy easier to use. And so like there are these people that have taken birth courses before and they're like, yeah, it was great information, but just like right over my head. Like I don't know how to use it now, actually.
yeah.
And so that was the goal with the course, that people can like they can take it with a partner, they could take it with their midwife, like everyone in their group or their doula friends, and just they can learn together and actually understand how to use it in each situation and for each client. And then I included a little bit, I touched on postpartum too, more like a little bit on the babies, but more just postpartum mental health, because that's just such a
Huge.
critical time and such an issue that a lot of women don't reach out for help for. So I just really wanted to make the moms taking the course aware that this is here for you, and this is like, if any of these signs come on, like these are the remedies to reach for, but also to make the professionals aware that like you can have such an impact on these moms' lives just by knowing a few of these remedies and offering them a few pellets, that you can just take them out of their pit, like that you can make the light shine again, just having this information, but just making it easy, just make homeopathy easy again. Like it doesn't have to be so complex for the home user, for the professionals that just want to incorporate it into their
Mm,
practice.
love it.
Oh, I love that. Make homeopathy easy again. I love that.
Yeah.
That's so great. And the Banerjee protocols, they have a lot of merit. Like they are
Yeah.
practiced, tried and true in India, and they are there because those combinations are there and those protocols are there because they work and they
Yeah.
work most of the time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. And yeah, women, pregnancy, so many things can come up during pregnancy and
Yeah.
then as the labor.
Hmm.
after the labor, and then,
Yeah.
like when the baby's just born. So like having homeopathy to support you, like really mostly acutely, this is not really
Yeah.
constitutional work, that's more
Yeah.
acute work,
Yeah.
is life changing. I mean,
Absolutely.
I mean, I would have had homeopathy. I think back to all my birth, and I'm like, wow, I could have used this
Yeah.
remedy and this remedy. Like I would have
Yeah.
used causticum for this and dolichulose for this, and I was like, too
Yeah.
bad. Like I didn't know,
I
it would have been
know.
a
Yeah.
lifesaver, but we didn't. Like I said, we only know what we know, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, there
Yeah.
are so many things that can come up at that time that it just
Yeah.
could make things so much easier.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like you think about exactly what you said. You think about all your births, and it's like, oh wow, that was such an aconite experience. Like with my third, like thankfully I did have the knowledge. I didn't quite train my husband to the level that I should have, which is like that's what I try and explain to my clients or people taking courses. It's like, like just like let people know, like please read this sheet of information just beforehand, so you kind of know like what to expect. Because I don't want the mama to be thinking like, oh, I'm in an acne state right now. Like I want to run. Like I'm so scared that I'm going to die. Like I want the midwife or the doula or the dad to know like she just needs a little shot of aconite right now.
That's what's so important though, right there, is what you said, because when you're in that like such that fear state, right, that aconite state, or
Yeah.
like even like a semisafuga, right, in that state could
Yeah.
be really tough. Like you need, like you can't really think and make a good
No.
decision for yourself.
No.
So like having those say protocols or your like course already printed out for the
Hmm.
father and the doula, whoever, and or having these other professionals who are in the holistic alternative world taking your course and things like that, so they
Yeah.
know the protocols so they can use them right then and there, and they can just help
Yeah.
right away, like so that it's not only
Exactly.
useful like you said for the mom to have, but it's useful for these other professionals to get
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even as a professional in my births, I wasn't thinking about remedies, like I'm not, that's not where the mom's brain should be, even if you're a professional and you should know, like, I need aconite right now. It's not what you're thinking about. You're thinking about, I need to get this baby out of my body.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's an out of body experience. Let's just
Yeah.
say. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's such a beautiful thing that you're providing. And the other thing that brought me to bring you on, Jill, was like I love your social media, how you share such like simple things. I think when I asked you to come on, I was like, I don't know, your feed kept coming up, which is great. I love that. There's probably like some quantum entanglement there. And it was
Right.
like little simple ways to use like cell salts you were doing, like a little like
Yeah.
simple things. And I was like, it's so nice to like, because I know I can complicate things too, like totally.
Hmm.
Because I'm like, my brain is here, right? Because I know I have
Yeah.
all this information, but we have to like bring it down to like, oh, what can people
Absolutely.
actually use? Like make homeopathy easy again. Like what can
Yeah.
people actually use and do, right?
Yeah.
So you were doing a lot of that on your social media posts, which was really nice as well. And it was like, oh, I'll just use this, this cell for
Yeah.
this. And like it was great. So I love that you're doing that too.
Yeah, thanks. That's always been a goal of mine, just with my social media, which started as just my blog. Like I
Yeah.
think with my third child as a baby, and I was like, I need to use my brain again. And I had all of these friends like contacted me, like, what do you do for this? Like, what's your opinion on this? What can I give for yada yada? And I was like, I was honestly kind of sick of just saying the same thing to every person. And so I was like, I want to have somewhere to just send them that is what I do. So then I was like to my husband, I was like, I think I'm going to start a blog. Like, is that crazy? Like, do people still read blogs? But anyway, so that's what it started, which I've kind of just with life and busyness, I've kind of fallen away from the blog a little bit, which makes me sad. I would love to get back there because I do like to write in that way. But just social media has been easier. And so just to just get people this simple information that they can use and they can implement and that is genuine, like I want people to use homeopathy and I want them to be able to just help their families and heal their families. I feel like social media can be hard because people are like, well, like, are you just trying to sell that, or does it actually work? And it's like, you know what? I don't care if you buy it from me. Like, go to your local health food store and see if they have these cell salts and just use it if you want to. And I'm sure you'll come back and let me know like how great it worked because it's that simple, But just yeah, just to get people this simple information and hope that they can use it. And that's a big part of it is people can get really overwhelmed with homeopathy. And that's
Yeah.
what I try not to do because I know I've been there, within that new mom mindset. It could be a new mom or not, like could be any point in your life, but just like information overload. Like I can't understand what you're talking about. Like just tell me what I need and when I need to use it. So that's kind of what I try and take
And
that
we're
view.
so used to that too from
Yeah.
medical doctors, right? Like we just
Yeah,
used to so that so it's kind of hard for people to go from, one thing to the other like really quickly, you know?
exactly.
It's
Yes.
it's
Yep.
it's a huge transition.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, okay, now I have to like kind of read this Materia Medica and figure it out or look at this course and like which one fits. And it's like it's a
Yeah.
lot to undertake, especially
Hmm.
when your kid is screaming at, midnight with an ear infection and pain. I've been there.
Exactly.
Like when I was
Yeah.
studying homeopathy, I'm like, okay, now I have to get out of the bed and look at the book and figure out what the remedy is. Like
Yeah.
that actually happened. And I was like, now
Yeah.
I'm in my, repertory on my computer at, 1
Right.
o'clock in the morning, figuring out the remedy. And it's like,
Right.
that's not everybody's going to do that, like they're just going to give the
Yeah.
Advil because they're going to give up is my point because it's too complicated, right? So
Right.
they
Yeah.
need like simple instructions.
Yeah.
And I think the more you use this medicine, the more intuitive you can become with it. You're like, oh yeah, you just know. Like you'll just like know. Like it'll just be like
For
more
sure.
natural and you'll
Yeah.
just like grab for exactly what you need. And I did not know the power of cell salts. I mean, I wasn't taught about cell salts. Heather and I weren't taught about that in
Mhm.
our classical training. And I was like, they're probably like, what could they really do? Like, so then I started learning more about it and I started practicing it on myself and in clients. I'm like, they're like amazing. Like they're just like
Yeah.
can be so
Yeah.
supportive. I mean,
Yeah.
at one time my kid was starting to come on down with something and I was like, oh, let's just try some Farron Foss. He was like better in an hour. I'm like, oh, okay, well that actually did really work then. Okay, great.
Yeah, I know. And for acute things like that, but even like I was sharing, I think it was late last year when I really did the cell salt focus. Um, I was sharing acute things, of course, but then I was also sharing like these are the cell salts you can use for your thyroid. And I've
Yeah.
had people come back and just from implementing those, they're like, these are the symptoms that I don't have anymore. And they're just kind of like
Wow.
amazed, you know? And it's
Mhm.
like they can work on that deep level. Like
Oh,
they're
definitely.
great, they're so great to use, yeah, for a cold, for pain, for like detox support, whatever. But then for the long term issues too, like it's just it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I try and encourage like people to get the 12 and to
Mhm.
have them because it's only 12. You know, it's not like hundreds of remedies to focus on. Just focus on these 12 first, see how you can use them in your life, see how impactful they are, and then move on to the homeopathic remedies after if you want.
Yeah.
But just focus here because it's so impactful.
Yeah, it's
So
a
you were
beautiful
you
place to start. Go
you
ahead,
were
Heather.
trained classically like Vanessa and I were. Now we're branching out, of course. So how did you go from classical training that you had until now you have all these other wonderful tools and aids to use? How did you get here?
Yeah, well, it's been a journey, that's for sure. But so my training originally was classical and very sensation method focused. Like that's the homeopaths that I trained with. That's what they used in their practices, primarily like Rajan Sankaran's work.
Great work,
And
though.
that is very interesting.
Mhm.
But it never really clicked with me. It never really felt
Mhm.
like um kind of what I was supposed to practice like. So then after, and I thought like, oh, what I just need to work on it. I'll get better, whatever. But it never really clicked. And so I kind of just moved away. Like I still reference his books and he has really great remedy descriptions and things like that. But just the core methods behind it, I don't use now. And so it just kind of sent me on a journey to see like, okay, so how are other homeopaths practicing? What is working in their practices? And just really gleaning from those around me, those around the world, just really seeing how are they supporting their clients the best that they
Mhm.
can, and just using that knowledge to just kind of push myself forward and help clients in the way that I wanted to, which
Mhm.
is like as fast as possible, but then of course as gently as possible. And so then that just lots of courses over the last 12 years, just so many courses, just to dive into the different types of ways that we can practice homeopathy, because there's so many ways that really weren't taught, right? Because the people who are teaching the school or who were teaching my school, they taught based on what they used and what they knew. But there's such a wide world out there and so many ways that people are using homeopathy. So just really digging into that and just wanting the best for clients.
It's so mystifying to me why we would want to reify homeopathy when there's just use what works. I mean,
Yeah.
what is the what is the problem with that? I think that's one of our recent podcasts with Peter Berman. He's like, why are we fighting? Well, we don't need this
Oh,
infighting. Let's just,
oh, I know.
let's use what works. So that's what I
Yeah.
see that you did. And so kudos to you.
Yeah, I loved that podcast with Peter. And I agreed so much with what he said. And just, I've seen that a lot on social media, just homeopaths bashing other homeopaths. And it's so sad to me that it's like, how are we supposed to share this medicine when homeopaths can't even get on the same page? So just respect what that homeopath's doing. And you might not do it the same way, and that's okay. But they're helping people, and so are you. And that's the goal, right?
And why
So
not learn from each other? Like, hey,
yeah,
like to me,
yeah,
like I really feel like we should not be in our own island. This is the part of the reason why I love doing the podcast is I get to talk with you and learn from you because we can often learn from each other, right?
yeah.
And that's the whole point is like, oh, well, Jill does this and that really works for her clients. That's awesome. How can I maybe implement that or take nuggets I want that resonate with me? Like you said, like certain things, the sensation method doesn't resonate with you. So then that's not for you. That's not what your healing gifts are. That's not what you do, right? It's just
Right.
not for you.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
But like
Mhm.
we should be learning from each other instead of fighting with each other, obviously, because that's all the
Totally.
mission is for people to like the goal for all of us is to help people get better and to
Mhm.
bring homeopathy back to the mainstream, right? So people can use it and know about it and have awareness around it. Like we all have the same goal, right?
Mhm.
Is to help people and share homeopathy, right? So
Yeah.
like, why would
Yeah.
we fight with each other about what's right? Like,
I
oh,
know.
you can't, ever, give a remedy when a person's having an aggravation. Well, maybe you should because maybe they're having a panic attack and they need some help, Like
Right.
I have
Yeah.
like some different views here.
I know. I know. And something that I learned in that way that was just like, whoa, like I learned a lot from taking the Banerjee course. I took it through Joette Calabrese.
hmm
And that was, yeah, years ago now. But a lot of the recommendations that she made, just like that was the first course that I took, I think, or somewhere along the way. Anyways, just opened my eyes to like, whoa, you can do that. Like I just no, you don't have to follow these strict rules. Like it was like someone's having an aggravation, give another dose of the remedy and get them out of the aggravation. It was like, what?
Or
You know?
maybe they might need a different remedy. And that's like,
Yeah,
is that allowed? And I'm like,
right.
yes, it's allowed. Now I'm like, yes, it's
Yeah,
very much allowed because I don't
yeah,
want that person to suffer. Because
exactly.
when I went through, well, like when I went through the homeopathy school, it was like you give the one dose and you wait. And you like, if
Yeah,
they have an aggravation, you just wait. Right. And I
right.
was like, and I would go for these. I mean, I went through some intense aggravations. Like they were like so intense. Like they probably could have used some support. Like
Yeah,
they were not little nothings. They were like,
yeah,
yeah. They were not like that. So yeah, anyway, I probably would have done things a little differently now, but that's okay. It's what I went through. But it's like, do
yeah,
your cells remember that? Like my cells kind of do. Like that was like traumatic. Some of the aggravations were like almost traumatic, right? So
yeah,
is
yeah.
that what we want to do? Probably not.
No, no, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't want to suffer through an aggravation. I'm sure not going to make my clients suffer through one, and
Mm-mm.
they can still, like, there's still healing on the other
Of
side,
course.
and we
Of
don't
course.
have to suffer through it to get to that healing at all.
Mm-mm.
Totally
Yeah.
agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah. And I
100%.
I really loved what Peter said too about just like, why are we waiting? Like let's just just do the good now, And so like
Well,
no, yeah, just stop. Like, why the one remedy and then wait? Like a lot of clients come to me from that angle, and it's like, sure, that might be the gold standard of like you have like a like a pure child, and then you can give that one dose, one remedy, and then healing takes place. But most often not, and so then you have to build on that. And what can we do to really get that healing going now?
right. And I have had clients where I've seen that. Like I had that with my one son and it was like
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Stomach
yeah,
development, one end, like, oh my God, like that's like amazing cure. Like, and I've
yeah,
had it with clients too, who
yeah.
like kind of surprised me. And I'm like, oh, I just gave this pulsatilla 200C and that was it. That's all they needed.
Right.
And then great, but that's not every
Yeah,
client. And a lot more clients are
exactly.
complex. And I think it's funny because we were talking with Peter after, I don't think this was recorded. And I love George Vachukis. I learned a lot from him, but he would use homochords in dire situations. Like he would use
Right.
them if it
Yeah.
was like life or death, because he's like, I know it's pulsatilla or phosphorus or whatever, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna give it in a 1M and a 10M and a 50M in water because I need this person, like it's an emergency. So
Yeah,
I
because they're
need it
dying. Yeah.
because they're dying, right? Well, why are we waiting till they're dying?
Right.
Yeah, that's silly. I don't like
Like it
Yeah.
doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
probably
Like
shouldn't
let's
say
Yeah.
that, but it just sounds like,
right.
wait, why not move that
Yeah.
back? Like, let's use all
Yeah.
that we can before it's dire. Like, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't wait till
Yeah.
it's dire strength to use a homocord. Like what's the
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
know you
just
have
found
your
that
little
so
one who's
interesting.
waiting for you, Jill, so I just want to
Yeah.
see, like, timing issues, but I want to see
Yeah.
what else you want to share that we haven't touched on before we start to wrap it up.
Oh, what do I want to share? That's a good question. So I work a lot also with trauma. Like all clients have been through trauma. Everyone's been through trauma, you know. But
Mhm.
just that is really another passion of mine that I guess I'll like put it out there. That's what first came to my mind, that like just let people know like homeopathy can help you heal through whatever trauma that is, you know.
Mhm.
Um a lot of my clients, it's been like shockingly sad for me to realize how many people in the world have to live through sexual abuse and sexual assault. Like probably every other client that I see has that a part of their history. And just to see the healing, like, and then you don't even have to revisit it, you know, just knowing that it is there.
Mhm.
The healing that you can have in your life and in your symptoms and in your future, just to be able to address these traumas that we've had in our life with homeopathy. Like there are a lot of methods that are kind of popular right now to help heal from our past and from traumas, that really kind of have us like going back and living it out again, which is not comfortable for someone who's been there, you know. And so homeopathy, yeah, it just is. I've just seen it do really great things. So I guess I just wanted to share about that you can heal. You don't have to revisit it. It might be something that you add on in addition to another adjunct, or on its own, and just that it doesn't have to be a part of, yeah, who you are and who you're carrying forward.
So powerful and so needed because a lot of people avoid therapy because they're like, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to have to.
Exactly.
And it's true.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of psychotherapy, they're sitting there telling their story over. And if the therapist isn't well trained in how to handle trauma, they're just re traumatizing themselves. And it's really not
Yeah.
helpful. It's adding to the problem. And so
Yeah.
also, I'm thinking about with your fertility cases, like that's going to really impact their ability to conceive if there's a lot of stuck
Mhm.
fear in the body. So it's beautiful that
Absolutely.
you're able to address the trauma to then in service to their fertility.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is amazing and it's great to see clients let go of that fear, you know, and just
Mhm.
to be able to move forward and not have to live in that state anymore is
Yeah.
just beautiful in itself, even if they didn't realize that was what was holding them back.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like we could do homeopathy can do, and even I've seen flower essences too. They can do like
Yes.
amazing work on trauma, and you don't
Yeah.
have to go relive through it and spend years in therapy. And I'm not saying therapy is not supportive, but it can be so much
Yeah.
quicker and a lot less
Yeah.
stressful, I guess is the what I'm looking for,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
healing. And I think that's really important. And Heather and I talk all the time about how the root cause of disease is usually trauma or some sort of like drugging. Like, it's
Yeah.
usually one or the
Yeah.
other, right? That's
Yeah.
usually the main
Absolutely.
issues. And, we gotta homeopathy. What other medicine do I know that can work on both of those?
Yeah.
I don't got it. I don't
Exactly.
know another modality that does that, like that
No.
works on the trauma and helps you release like press suppressions of like medications that you've taken.
No.
I don't, once I find another modality, I'll let you guys know, but I don't think it
Yeah. Good.
exists yet. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's really, holds a lot of so much healing potential for the world. And I think the more podcasts we can do, the more we can talk about it, the more we share about it, the better, because yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Well, thank you for allowing me to come in here and chat about that and all these little
Yeah.
things. It's been so fun.
Yeah.
Thank
Tell the
you.
people where they can find you, where they can hook up with you, learn from you, take your course,
Yeah.
Instagram, website, all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. So everything is on my website, herhomeopathy.ca. You'll find my course there. You'll find a link to my Instagram there too, but it is at Her Homeopathy on Instagram.
Mm.
And just a lot of, yeah, focus on using homeopathy at home. I do drop some bits and pieces in there about like fertility and about women's health and in that kind of regard. But most of my Instagram is just mostly for the home user, how you can easily use homeopathy for your family, for yourself, yeah, for
Very
everyone.
practical. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Jill, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for coming on. We had so much
Yes.
fun chatting.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much.